Hey there, my name is Kelly Dale with Off the Beaded Path. 2 weeks ago, I showed you guys how to make the odd count column earrings. Now this is a new way to do an odd count peyote stitch that I learned from threadofbead.com. And it was just so easy that I had to show you guys how to do this simple, funky turnaround. Now, one question that was asked several times about the project that I did not address in that video was, hey, what happens if I run out of thread? You know, either on my working thread or that tail thread. How do I add thread? What do I do? So that's going to be the point of today's video. I'm going to be showing you, number one, a refresher on how to start and do your odd count peyote stitch with the new turnaround. And then secondly, I'm going to be showing you this on a bracelet. So I'm going to be doing the same chevron pattern that I did a few weeks ago on the earrings. So that way you'll have a bracelet to match. And third, I'm going to actually start with a shorter amount of thread than what we're actually going to need. So that way I can show you how to add thread, both working thread and tail thread. Instead of being 7 wide like the earrings were, this bracelet is going to be 9 beads wide. So again, it's still an odd number of beads. So to do the actual chevron pattern like I'm doing today, I'm going to be using 2 colors of a size 11 Delica. You're going to need about 4 grams of each color. I'm going to use 4 total yards of thread to do the complete bracelet. And then besides that, you're going to need a needle, a few size 15 seed beads, and then whatever kind of clasp that you want. Now, just like the earrings that I showed you a few weeks ago, I'm going to taper the ends down on these bracelets till it comes to a point so that then you can add your clasp. And it's super quick, super easy. I actually made 2 new patterns to go along with this, and I'll show you one of those today. It was really, really pretty. But it makes this process really quick and a lot easier. So let's go ahead and get started. And like I said, do what I tell you to do, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to start out with a shorter amount of thread so that way I'll run out and be able to show you guys how to do it. We're going to start, if you're not comfortable with your 4 yards, you can start with 2 yards, but just know that you're going to need to leave about a 16 to 18 inch tail to work with, okay? So if you want to do the bracelet without running out of thread, then cut your 4 yards, leave a 16 to 18 inch tail. Otherwise, start with 2 yards and do a 16 to 18 inch tail, and then I will show you how to add thread. So let's go ahead and get started. So I've gone ahead and I have graphed out our chevron pattern. Now, on a normal graph type pattern, you start here in the top corner, okay? So what this means is my first row, I would pick up AA, BB, A, B, B, AA. Okay, so you're picking up this first row at a diagonal, and then we would continue on from there. Now, the great thing, if you actually purchase the pattern, it's going to have your graph and it's going to have your word graph for your word chart. So just like I told you, what would have been our first row of beads, we're going to start on the left and we're going to be picking up 2 A's. And the number in parentheses is the number of the beads you're going to pick up. So you're going to pick up 2. The letter is the letter number bead that corresponds with your Delica. So I would pick up 2A, 2B, 1A, 2B, and 2A, exactly like it said. Now, if you notice, your pattern says left, or L, and then R. L, and then R. L stands for left. Of course, R stands for right. So what that means is when I start on this first row, I'm going to be working from the left to the left. Okay, so bloop, this way. Okay, and then when I do this row, I'm going to be working to the right, okay? So then to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. So hopefully that'll help you understand that just a little bit. And when you purchase the pattern, you're going to get this plus the full pattern on how to actually start the odd count peyote that I'm going to be showing you today. So I'm going to get my materials together, and I'm going to actually start by my pattern. So here is a version of the bracelet that I'm going to be showing you how to make today. You can see it is just a little bit wider than the earrings, and then like I said, it comes down to this taper. Now this is an extra pattern that I have for sale on my website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com. Now I also wanted to show you, I could not give you a bracelet without showing you some awesome earrings. So this is a brick stitch earring that I've come up with, and again, you can find this pattern on my website as well. And I've done like a really pretty turquoise and black version, and then I've done the pink version. I did the pink version so it would match this, so that you could kind of see how well some of these patterns are going to go together. So that will give you just a little bit of a peek of what you can find on my website. Now, I've started out with my pattern, which to start out was my white is my A, so I've got 2A, 2B, 1A, 2B, and 2A, and I'm going to drop these beads down. Now again, like I said, make sure you leave yourself a really long tail, okay? So your tail thread needs to be long, normally about 16 to 18 inches, so at least the length of your mat and a little bit more. So see, I have all of this tail to go with. Now, I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to start smaller because I want to run out of some tail so that I can show you guys how to actually do this. So just your quick refresh on how to do your odd count peyote. I'm going to pick up 1B, and working back in the other direction, I'm going to skip the A and then go through the next A. Okay, and I'm going to hold, at some point, I'm going to hold these beads in place. Pull. Okay. So that, and make sure you keep them straight. Okay, so there's my bead that I just added. Now I'm going to add an A. So again, just like I told you on the chevron pattern 2 weeks ago, the easy way to remember is whatever color that is next. Well, I can't hold on to this today. Whatever color is next, you're going to pick up the opposite color. So I have a blue next. So I'm going to pick up a white. I'm going to skip the blue and go through the next blue. Hold that bead in place. Pull the thread. And voila. Okay, then the next one I have is white. So I'm going to pick up a blue. And this is so I don't even have to look at my pattern. Skip the white, go through the next blue. I'm going to hold my fingers there, and I'm going to pull this thread. So that once it pops into place, it looks like this. Okay, I've got blue next, so I'm going to pick up a white. Skip the blue, go through the white, hold my finger on it, and then I have one bead left. This is where we add our odd bead. So I'm going to pick up a blue because I've got a white bead here. I'm going to pick up my blue. I'm going to go under this tail thread. Okay, so under the tail thread, I'm going to hold this thread tight as I pull. And then I'm going to come back through the bead that I just added, which is this blue. I'm going to hold this and pull those threads so that this is my first 2 rows. Now it's just regular peyote for a row. So I've got white, so I'm going to pick up blue and go through the next bead sticking up. Okay, so if I hold it this way, you can see that white bead is the next one sticking up, so I'm going to go through it. Excuse me. I have a tickle in my throat. Well, let me pull everything tight again here. There we go. All right, the next bead here I have is a blue, so I'm going to be picking up a white, going through the next bead sticking up, and I'm going to pull that on through. My next bead here is a blue, so I'm going to pick up a white, and I'm going to go through the next bead sticking up. Okay, then I have a white right here, so I'm going to pick up a blue, and then go through the blue. Okay. Now working back the other direction now, working back this way. Got a blue, so I'm going to pick up a white. Okay, I have a white, so I'll pick up a blue. And please notice that when I go through a bead, I continue to pull that thread straight through the way that it's coming out. I see a lot of people try and pull their thread back like this, and then they wonder why their piece is loose, and it's because you're working against yourself. So when you pick up your bead, always continue to pull the thread through straight the way it's coming out of the bead. Okay, you've got a white, so I'm going to pick up a blue and go through the blue. Now, at this point, I am back to that odd bead again. That little odd one that I've got right here. So I'm going to pick up a white because I've got a blue there. I'm going to go under the thread. And then I'm going to come back through the white one that I just added. Hold that bead in place, pull the thread, and make that bead sit on top there if he doesn't want to sit on top. He is being ornery today. There we go. Okay. So now you can see, and we'll just continue until you reach the length that you need. As you work, the biggest thing you want to make sure is that if you get through the whole thing without running out of thread, that's fabulous. And so I want to make sure that you understand that if you get through the whole thing without running out of thread, and you want to do the tapers on the end like I'm going to show you, make sure that you leave yourself about 1 1/4 inches, because you're going to need room for the taper and you're going to need room for your clasp, whatever kind you choose. Now just know, if you want a bigger clasp, again, you're going to need to leave more room for that. So just make sure that you leave yourself about the 1 1/4 inches. And then as soon as I run out of thread, I'm going to show you how to end and add your thread. Okay, so as you continue to work and you run out of thread, now yours will be further along, hopefully, than mine will be. But I've gone ahead and put a needle on this short tail thread. You'll want to pay attention to which bead you're coming out of, because when we add our new thread, we'll need to make sure we're coming out of this same bead again. So I'm going to go ahead, let me pull that through just a little bit more, and I'm going to start stitching through my beads to start to get rid of this short tail. My goodness, there we go. Okay, and you're just going to keep working until we stitch this through. We don't really want to tie it off, because if you tie it off, what's going to happen is it's going to, you're going to see that knot, and we don't want you to see that knot after you've worked so hard on this bracelet. So we're just going to stitch through the beads here and get rid of this thread. And you might have to... And as you can see, I'm locking this thread in several times as I stitch down through. And once I've got that secure, I'm going to go ahead and trim off this short tail. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim that right off. Now, for now, I'm going to leave this working thread, and I'm going to get a new piece of thread cut and thread it onto my needle. So I'm ready to start back. So I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come through this last bead that my thread was exiting out of. And when I come through, I'm going to make sure to leave myself enough of a tail that I can finish out the bracelet with what I'm doing. So let me pull here. Okay, so I'm going to leave my full length since I'm going to keep working here. And now it's just a point of holding this thread in place and then basically doing the same thing that I did with my other thread. I'm going to lock it in. Now, if I still have a lot of thread left on this side, I'm good to go. I can just keep working, just, get rid of this thread just like I did the other and just keep going. But if you do not have much working thread left over here, what you can do is as you stitch through your beads, come out of this bead over here so that once you do, you can just start working again. The biggest thing is to just make sure that this thread is locked in and then you're good to go. So I'm actually just stitching over here to where this other thread is. And now I've got my thread here that I can keep using the tail with, and then I can take this other thread and I can get rid of this one so that then I will have a working thread and my tail again, and then just keep going. So once you have the length, then you're ready to taper down the end. And so I already have what I need to start tapering down here. I've got my 4 beads here at the top. So then I'm just going to stitch through to come out of this first bead that I added on the row. And then basically I'm going to do it just like what I did on the earrings. We're going to go, each row is going to go down 1 bead. Okay, so I'm here. So now I have to add these 3 beads, which is going to be a blue, white, and blue. Now I'm going to stitch back around to come out of this bead here, and then do now I'm going to add my 2 beads, which will be the blue and then I'm going to stitch back to come out of this bead here so that I can add my 1. So once you've stitched around, you'll add your last bead in place. And at that point, you're ready to add the loop just like I did the earring a couple of weeks ago. Now, once you finish this end, then you'll be ready to add some thread here to the other end, and you'll taper it down and attach your little loop. And at that point, you can use a jump ring to attach your any kind of clasp that you would like. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this odd count peyote bracelet to go with the odd count column earrings I taught you a few weeks ago. Now I do have the pattern on my website for both of the samples that you got to see today, as well as the brick stitch earrings that match the pink set that I showed you. And now this is the last full-length video for 2017. So thank you guys so much for watching, and remember real quickly, December 28th through the 31st, you can use the coupon code END, E-N-D, on my website, which is offthebeadedpathbeadstore.com, to get 20% off your total purchase. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in 2018. Bye-bye.